Well, thank you. And I really appreciate everybody joining in today. For we are now into phase two. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through a really quick kind of review of where we've been so we can start the transformation process because this is part of the process where change really starts to happen. Now, I want to pre warn you that this may make you a little bit uncomfortable. And it's okay for you not to agree. The things that I am sharing with you, I am sharing with you from my experience and the things that I've known that has worked through not just the years, but with the countless number of people that I've had the privilege to work with. So it will get a little bit challenging at times. So the three phases that we talk about are the awakening, the transformation, and the realization. The realization is more the fun piece. The transformation is where the work actually starts to happen. The awakening is, as you've already experienced over these first few weeks, really start to get us in touch with who we are, values, and so forth. So we went through that. So let's go through just again a quick review. Values and the values that we talked about were more the must-haves, like things that you really there's a difference that happens in your life as we talked about in the past that when you have something that is a must-have in your life. So quickly, just as a review, I want you to think back to something in your life that was you had to have, whether it was a car, whether it was a house, whatever it was that you knew that you had to have it. I guarantee you, without question, without fail, it showed up. Because when something becomes a must-have and we remove the doubt, we remove anything else away from us having it, it has to show up. And that's really the difference between the things that we can accomplish in our life and the things that we don't, because then there's the conditioning that we get and the beliefs that come in. And for some of us, we talked about this a little bit, we tap down on our dreams. You know, sometimes we get so disappointed that we stop dreaming. We start to settle. We move into settling rather than dreaming and believing things can become possible. So this is where we go in and we start to do things to banish the doubt and really reenact for ourselves those things that we know we've accomplished, right? And really getting clarity on anytime that we've had those disappointments, anytime that we have those things that we perceive as failure, that truly all those are our lessons that get us ready for the things that we're here to do today. And for those of you that are with us today on this call and have been with us through this whole process, I just personally want to take a moment to thank you for your commitment to yourself, your commitment to jump, your commitment to your business, and your commitment to the people you serve. I have to tell you, it is an honor and privilege to be part of that process with you. So here we go. Here we go. The awakening begins, and now we're going into the vision piece of this program. And the thing about a vision is going to require some action, because vision without action really is literally a waste of time, a waste of energy. So the only thing worse than being blind, this is from Helen Keller, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Having sight but no vision. So you're going to see, remember in phase one, we talked about the Wizard of Oz and we talked about the lion who was looking for courage, the scarecrow was looking for a brain, Tin Man looking for a heart, and Dorothy wanted to go home. So I asked you, can you see yourself in any of these characters? I can see myself in all of them through different experiences that I've had. And I think if we look back and we look back at the things that may have disappointed us or discouraged us, we'll see in times when we may have felt we weren't smart enough. We may have thought, we didn't have enough courage to speak up for ourselves, to do the things that we wanted to do, or have the heart to really share the things that were important, right? So I asked you, can you see yourself in any of these characters? And for those of you, just quickly, I want to go back. For those of you who were with us on the first week when stories were submitted, and I just want to announce really quickly that Michelle Peterson was the winner of the story that she put in. And here's something else that I want to have everybody do. All of you who actually submitted a story, please send me your ID number. You're going to get some very special surprises as we go along for taking the time out to to do that. I enjoyed each and every story, touched my heart because I could see myself in all these characters. Because as you start to get ready to create a vision, it's really critical for you to know where you are right now. Where are you? Where are you with your courage? Where are you with what you think about yourself? And how do you see yourself? And are you really ready to go to any lengths? So let's talk about living your vision and casting the vision. Crafting a new version of yourself requires a new vision, not a repeat of the past. For many of us, we're still living in yesterday's news. And if you are building a business, if you're building a junk business, then I have to tell you without question, we are in a different time and this is a different reality. And so I think it takes some adjustments to really look at getting the results that you may want. But there are three types of vision casting. And I get so excited about this because we talk about vision, but then there's a key to really get clear that the current situation that you have in your life, how your life is right now, is a direct result of the vision you have. And here's what I mean. Look at your business. If you look at your business and if it's not exactly where you want it to be, it's a direct result of the vision that you're holding and carrying. And I know that may not make some people happy, but that's just the reality of where we are. So then we have to look at what type of vision are we casting to ourselves? What type of vision are we casting to the people that we serve? And one is settling for what is vision. So that's where we just continue to be mediocre. We stay in the comfort zone. We don't stretch ourselves. We continue to do the same things, have the same conversations, talk to people in the same way. We just settle in and say, okay, this is the way it is, right? Then we have the negative vision, which is below potential. That's when we have nothing but excuses, right? It's usually the people that say they have no vision. Well, I don't have a vision. Life just kind of happens for me. You know, another day, another dollar. And the beauty of this call is I know that we don't have any of those, we don't have any of that energy on this call from the people that's here. But it's just something for us to know that when we are working and talking to people, that we can get a real sense of like, wow, not a judgment, judging them as bad, good, right, or wrong, but just a sense of where they are, right? That the vision that they're holding for themselves may not be up to their own potential. And so then you have to make a decision, right? Are you the one? Do you have the ability? Can you work with them to get a larger vision? Can you get them to what I like to call that inspiring vision, which is a meta life? And meta means above and beyond the ordinary, because so many of us settle into the ordinary. And we settle into the ordinary not when we're young, but sometimes as we experience life, we tap ourselves down. And I can only speak to this because I have done it myself. I have watched and looked at, when I look back at some of my dreams and things that I had 10, 20 years ago, and I look at what they are today, and I think, wow, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting how I had conversations with myself and I can convince myself of things like, well, you know, I don't really need this. I don't really need that. This is all that's important. And I'm not saying, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't make adjustments. But what I am saying is that if we have an inspiring vision, we can then inspire those around us. People want to be around us. So when we look at our programming, because so much of what we do or don't do, so much of what we accomplish or don't accomplish, so much of our vision are choices that are made based on past programming, right? So we live in this world that we are, and we'll talk more about this as we go through, but it's coming through right now. We live in this world where we're convinced that the new car, the new house, the more money, all these external things are what's going to make us okay. This is what's going to be okay, right? And so the reason that those messages come is because people want you to spend money, right? So you look at all the celebrities that so many people look up to and the sports figures, and you see them with these sneakers and bags, and you want to go out and buy them. And some people will even put them on charge cards and go out and buy them, not even realizing that the celebrity you're trying to emulate didn't even have to pay for it, but you're spending your money. They got paid to advertise it, and you're spending your money to go in debt to get something so you can feel like you're somebody else, right? We get tied into, we want to upgrade our belief systems. We talked about this a few weeks ago. We talked about our belief systems, the ones that serve and the ones that don't serve. And we got a series of belief systems. And here's something else. right? So now when you look at the direction that Jump is going, for those of you who are in Jump, you look at the direction that Jump is going, working and focusing in on children. It is so freaking amazing that we have the opportunity to do that. Because if we can get in, because most of the belief systems that we have, that we're working with right now, like money doesn't go on trees and a bunch of other stuff that if I started to sprout out, all of us would start nodding our heads and say, yep, I heard that. And I don't care if you're black, white, green, yellow, we all heard the same kind of things, right? So they're belief systems that don't serve, that get programmed in when you're 6, 7, 8 years old. Man, if we could educate and work with people to change those belief systems, to really alter how they're talking and how they're relating, and the education of children. Oh man, I tell you. So I think we're on to ways that literally can change. And we talk about shifting the industry, but we can end up shifting the planet, right? So when we talk again about upgrading the program, excuses seem like a normal way of life. And many of us on this call have heard every excuse known to man. We talked about this. We have an event coming up, right? We have an event coming up, and I guarantee you that those of you who have not heard some really elaborate excuses, you will start to hear them when people tell you why they couldn't show up for the event. They'll come up with some real good ones, right? But what we want to be able to look for and work with are people who are not willing to do that. They want to live from an inspiring vision, right? And again, this is not about judgment. This is not about making anybody wrong, right? I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is making a decision of who you want to surround yourself with, who you want to be influenced by. Because as my grandmother told me a long time ago, she said, you're going to be like the company you keep, right? And so be very careful of the company that you keep, because that's who you're going to be. And so if you want to upgrade the program, right? If you want to upgrade the program, remember your vision will determine your daily habits and actions. Your daily habits and actions will create your destiny. Habits that allow you to live your best life, right? If you want to be in shape, it's necessary to have a daily exercise routine, right? People who know me know that I do not make any exceptions for my exercise routine and my eating. I make no exceptions at all, right? I don't deprive myself. I live a full life, but those are things that are critical to me, right? Treating people with the utmost respect and care. And I don't care who it is I'm talking to, where it is I am at. I believe that everybody deserves the utmost respect and care. That develops better relationships, business and personal. So when we talk about habits, I'm going to read something to you that's in my book. And just bear with me, because this is really one of my favorite things. And it's called Habits. It's by Anonymous. So it's by Anonymous. It says, I am your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I am completely at your command. Half the things you do, you might just as well turn them over to me, and I will be able to do them quickly and correctly. I am easily managed. You must merely be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I am the servant of all great men and women, and of last of all failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made them failures. I am not a machine, though I work with all the precision of a machine, plus the intelligence of a man or woman. You may run me for profit or run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I? I am habit. Ladies and gentlemen, the habits that we have determine our destiny, right? The things that we constantly, consistently do, that's a representation of who we are. And that's what people see. They may not ever utter a word to you about what they see or why they choose to work with you or not work with you. But I guarantee you it's because of what they see or don't see in you through your habits. So now let's have a little bit of fun. This is one of my fun things that I like to talk about. And this is living your vision. And how many of you have heard of the law of attraction? How many of you have watched The Secret? How many of you have watched The Secret more than once, twice, 3, 4, 10, 20 times, waiting for the ask, believe, receive, right? Millions, 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 millions of people have adopted this philosophy. However, only a small percentage of people manifested their vision from The Secret. And what's so amazing is that, when you look at all this marketing and everything else, we start to think that, man, there's something wrong with us. How come this is not happening? Everybody else is getting it. Well, if you look at the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, no, not everybody else is getting it. And so similar to network marketing, many people join. However, only a small percentage of people manifest their vision, right? And the reasons why I put those two things together is because there's one important piece that's left out of both of those, right? And that important piece is inspired and aligned action, right? These things, it doesn't happen without the daily habits and the inspired and aligned action to get what you want. So there's so many people that want to talk about, oh, network marketing doesn't work and this doesn't work. Network marketing is no different than anybody else who wants to lose weight, who wants to get in business for themselves. If you do not put the right inspired and aligned action in, and people can't take action, right? There are some people that believe that if they take enough action with just putting stuff up on social media, that their business will grow all by itself, right? So all they have to do, and I'm not saying that's right, wrong, good or bad, just look at your numbers, look at the results, look at what's happening. Let the data tell you if it's true or not, right? But you want to take inspired and aligned action, right? So The Secret was based on ask, believe, receive, right? So let's talk a little bit more about what that means, right? So I'm going to give you a very quick example of what happens or the experience of law of attraction of people that I work with, right? Because it's truly like the law of gravity. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter because it's in action. It doesn't matter whether you believe it. Gravity doesn't care. You jump off a building, you're going down, you're dead. That's it. That's all she wrote. Doesn't matter whether you believe the law of gravity or not. It's in effect, just like the law of attraction is always in effect. But here's what happens. And this is why when we look at the statistics of the people who have massive success, they're so low, right? Because most people decide to focus in on what they don't want instead of what they do want. So their thoughts are geared on, they say we have like 60,000 thoughts a day. The only problem is we have the same damn thoughts every day, right? So we repeat the cycle over and over again. So we focus on what we don't want. And what happens is that occasionally what we do want, things like this or other things will come up and start to come in. And what will start to happen is now we start to set up what we call contrast. And this is where conflicting beliefs come, doubts, negative thoughts. These things come in and we start to be able to realize, as we talked about in the past, we have the subconscious ones that we have to go dig a little bit to find out. And then we have the conscious ones that we can actually impact immediately, right? And then there's something magical that starts to happen because as you start to see this and you start to really say, okay, I really want to truly have this. Now, remember, I want to take you back real quick when I talked about the must-have that I wanted you to experience and see in your life, right? When you had that must-have, you didn't have the conflicting beliefs. You didn't have the doubts. You didn't have the negative thoughts. You knew exactly what you wanted and how you felt about what you wanted. And this is what we learn as we go through like this third step here, is we learn how to put the attention on why you want what you say you desire, why you want it, and more importantly, the most important piece is how it will make you feel. Because the law of attraction works on vibration. So you want to become a vibrational match, right? So how you feel is going to make a huge difference when you can align with the feeling that you desire. And people say, well, Randy, that just doesn't make sense. I don't get that. And I asked them a question. I said, okay, so if you wanted to have joy in your life, where would the joy come from? Would the joy come from something that you had outside of yourself, or would the joy come from something that you're feeling inside? And as we close down, you'll see some of the things that will allow you to stay in this state to bring forth what you're really looking at. Because one of the things, there's a couple of things that, and we hit on this a little earlier, and we talked about the external and the internal. The external, again, we've been conditioned to believe that we need these things outside of ourselves in order to be happy, right? And so the question really comes from, where does your joy come from? Where does your joy come from? Where does happiness come from, right? right? Does it come from something that you bought? Because how many times have we bought something and we were happy with it for a minute? We were happy with it for a little while. Well, how many times, I remember so many times when I thought that I had to have something and I had it and I was like, yes, this is it. And then over time, it became like my worst nightmare. And then I remember there's times when I thought things were, oh my God, that's so horrible. I can't believe that happened. But it turned out to be the very best thing that could have ever happened to me. And so what I've learned from that is that when we focus on the internal, when we connect with the feelings that we're looking for instead of the things that we want to acquire. Because why do we want these things? We want these things because of how we believe it's going to make us feel, right? So if I can get those feelings now, right, my chances of manifesting that, attracting the right people to me is going to be a lot easier than if I think it's something outside of myself. So it's like the Wizard of Oz, and you see all of those beautiful characters, the courage and what they were looking for. That the lesson in there was they already had within them everything they needed. It was already there, right? So the questions that when we start to look at the vision of what we truly want, we start to ask ourselves, who must I become, right? What qualities or traits must I have? And how does it make me feel, right? And that's the question I'm always asking, who must I become? Who must I be? What qualities or traits must I have? Right? It's not about I will believe it when I see it. Wayne Dyer talks about this used to talk about it. He's passed away. I will believe it when I see it. It becomes I will see it when I believe it. And and we'll talk more about this next week when we talk more about our thoughts and how they impact us. But when we really start to look at this, if we want to be want to really fully utilize the law of attraction, this is how you have to do it. So this might make you a little bit uncomfortable, but like let's get really real here. I want to get really real with you. All right, because I want you to look at your business right now and just ask yourself, right? And this is not about judgment. This is not about beating up yourself or making yourself wrong, right, good, bad, any of that. This is just a reality check for all of us. So I want you to refer back to our three types of business, three types of vision. So the question I want to ask you, you have a business that's just settling? That's kind of flat, just kind of sitting there, nothing really happening, right? It's just like there, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, but no real clear vision, no real clear plan, no real clear action, no inspired, no aligned action to what you want, who you want to attract. Are you below what you're capable of? Do you know that you have the ability within you to do so much more than you're actually doing? That's a tough one for us to really look at. Am I actually below what I'm capable of? Right? Am I letting something get in my way? Am I allowing fear, doubt, whatever to be in the way of me reaching my full potential? Right? Because think about this for a second. If you're settling or you're below, who are you attracting to you? Right? So if your business is one that you've been getting people in on some excitement, but then they're gone or they disappear, then what's going on? Not what's going on with them. And that's what we like to look at. Oh man, I can't believe they've done this, right? We look at what's going on with them. I invite you to look at what's going on within us. What's going on within you, right? Are you fully aligned? So again, this is not about judgment. This is not about right. This is not about wrong. This is about just checking on ourselves and looking at, are there things that I can be better at? Are there ways that I could be more inspiring? Am I really working with people, right, in a manner that serves them? So I'm gonna give you a quick example. I don't know if this will make sense to you or not, but I'm going to use, like, let's say you're talking to someone and they say they want to release weight, or term that most people use is they want to lose weight, right? But did you take the time out to ask them like some really cool questions like, is this the first time that you're wanting to release weight? Is this the first time that you're wanting to lose weight? And just really, at this stage, you want to be what I call a great listener. You don't want to interrupt. You just want to be a great listener. You want to listen with that inner ear. You want to listen very carefully. And then more than likely, 99 point something percent of the time, they're going to say, no, I've done this many times. I've tried many things and nothing seems to work. Again, so what are they focusing in on? Nothing seems to work. They're focusing in on what? The external. They're focusing in on the external. So you want to listen carefully. So then you want to ask, well, why do you think, just curious, why do you think you gained it back? Why do you think you've been on this roller coaster? What's happening? And all you want to do is listen very carefully. And I guarantee you what you start to hear is more external, more external. Then you want to ask some more kind of really cool questions. So what will be different for you this time? What will be different for you this time that you may not have had in the past? And then you listen. And now at this stage, if you're doing your internal process, you could say for yourself, well, here's what I found for myself. That I found that for so long, I felt that that all these things outside of myself, right, were the reason. What I found was that there were some things going on inside of me that I was not happy with. There was some stress and different things going on in my life that I was using food or other things to run from, to hide from. So I wasn't making good decisions. When I became aware of that, then I could make better decisions based on the fact that I wasn't reacting from a subconscious place, that I was now conscious of what I was doing. Now, again, I'm just using that as a very simple example, but you can apply that to anything, because what we start to hear is all the external reasons of why our lives are not the way that we want them, instead of really looking internally. That's why we call this inner fit, right? Going to the inside, building a life from the inside out, not from the outside in, right? So that's just part of that. So vision, mission, values, right? So let's just call this the art of deliberate creation, right? One of the things that I find is that, and I've been, I don't know, 40, 50 years or whatever, I had this equation backwards. I was always into what must I do? Do. I had to keep doing, right? And I would be later because I thought the more I did, the more I could have. And what I've come to find out that really what it is be plus do have. So who must I be? Then what must I do? And then my do is aligned with my aligned action, inspired action. So I want to make sure that the actions that I'm taking are aligned with my values, that they're in line with who I'm becoming or who I want to be or what I want to do. And they're inspired by the service that I want to provide. So I'm going to use this as an example. And again, these are just some short, really quick examples. And you can apply this to any business, but I'm just applying it right now to the Jump to Health business. So if you have a vision for building a Jump to Health business, there's questions that I think that we can start to ask ourselves to look at this in a way that really may bring you more joy, more happiness. Just depends on who you are and what you're looking for. So who must I become to attract people I would love to work with in my business? Who must I become to attract the people, right? So I would have to be that power of example of what's possible. So the vision that I have for myself is to be a powerful example of possibility to those I serve. So how am I going to become that powerful example? Well, I become that powerful example by doing the things that I'm sharing with them that is critical for them to do to have whatever level of success that they want to have in their business. So remember, the only thing that we're ever holding people accountable to is what they say they want in their own life, right? What is the vision that they have? And all you're their coach, you're their mentor, you're looking at helping them and working with them by keeping them accountable to what they say they wanted. So if I start to look at that, who must I become and how can I be this powerful example? So I'm not telling you to do something I'm not doing. So if you came in my house and you opened my refrigerator, you wouldn't see a bunch of junk in it. If you opened my pantry, you wouldn't see a bunch of crap in it. You would see all healthy, non-processed foods because that's who I am. That's what I do. That's being a powerful example, possibility to those I serve. And then I would start to ask myself things like, how many families would I love to impact and be an instrument of change in their lives? I just want to be an instrument. It's not like me doing the work. They have to do the work. But how many families would I love to impact? And if I could start to see that if I started with 3 people that I could impact, or 3 people that I could work with, that we could work together and we could start to see this change and create the stories and really build a community of people that are really about impacting families. And when you look at the mission that Jump is on right now, how many children would you like to inspire to be bold, to live a purposeful life, right? And just imagine how that could make you feel, right? How that could make you feel if you could be part of that, right? And if you could see yourself doing that, right? And so many times we wait for these actions to happen. And I'm going to invite you to do something that a friend of mine taught me a long time ago, right? And this was like very, very early in my recovery days. And he said to me, Randy, act like somebody who's sober, right? Act that way, right? Visualize what that would be like. And so what I'm saying to you is like, I'm not into fake it like you make it. So like in the old days that we used to do in network marketing, go out and buy stuff and all kinds of crap to make it look like we had more money than we had and all that other nonsense that just caused you to be broke. But I'm talking about from the inside in terms of what you want to feel, right? So you can bring on the feeling of what it would feel like to be that instrument of change, what it would feel like, right? To know that your words and the words that you're sharing and the products that you help working with other people to have, that their lives are impacted in a way that they will never be the same again, that they could go out and accomplish things that they would not have been able to accomplish if you were not part of their process and being part of that together, sharing in that together. I personally feel that if we move more to this state of connection with people and who we are and what we're building, the what can happen for you in your business is amazing. And we look at simple milestones that you can look at to establish like a leadership role. And again, this will apply to any business. I'm just using Jump as an example right now, right? So in Jump, you achieve the rank of gold and establish a leadership role, right? So, and you can see yourself at this goal level. You can see yourself because there are things that you've done. And what are the things that you've done? Just simple little things. If you look in the back office, you'll see simple things that you can do, right? So who are the 3 people who you could impact their families? You could impact their children. You can impact their lives in terms of health, that they are looking for what you have. You're not trying to convince anybody of anything. A man or woman convinced against their will is of the same opinion still, right? But you can find by sharing your story, being authentic, being transparent, who are the 3 people that you want to co-create with and work to achieve the first level, the bronze level, right? Simple, right? Again, it's not about trying to come up with all these wonderful plans, just simple things that work. Because for somebody to achieve that level, they're going to get the satisfaction of feeling better health-wise, and they're going to get the satisfaction of knowing that what they're doing is working. So the questions that you want to put, in my opinion, this kind of energy into your everyday life and give yourself that feeling. So when I jump out of bed in the morning and I know that I'm talking to people about our business, when I know that I am lit up. And the reason I'm lit up, because for the first time in my life with what I'm doing, I know that no person can be hurt. Now, not everybody's going to have the level of success, but I also know this. If they don't have it, it's only because they chose not to. It's not because of what's not here. And so when you really can put yourself in that kind of state, knowing that this is not about the money, it's not about the external things. Those things are important and those things will come as a result of the service that you provide. Those things will come. But if you chase those things, They will disappear from you faster than you could even imagine. But I gotta tell you, when you become that instrument of change and you really start to understand, I mean, the things that I think are so critically important is that every person that you're working with, every person that you're co-creating with, I would hope and pray that you know exactly what they want, how they want it, why they want it, and how they're going to feel when they get it. So that way, when you're having conversations and you're co-creating together, that you're creating the kind of energy that will produce the level of excitement and enthusiasm, because that's what makes all of this work. When we know that what we're talking about is a real possibility and not just some other slam, bam, here we go, same old crap all over again, right? I would not choose to ever be a part of a company that had that level, that had that kind of energy about it, right? So look at the things that you're doing. Look at your vision that you have for your business. And now you can expand that. Expand that when you understand these types of questions, expand that to all the other areas of your life, right? But look at that. If this is your vehicle that you're choosing to create something in your life, this is the physical vehicle that you're choosing, then look at that feeling, right? That's going to happen as a result of what you do and how you create that with other people. So I know we talk a lot about how all of this comes together, right? But I have to tell you, if you want to hold the highest vibration, right? Again, is the external is great. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't have stuff and we shouldn't have, no, you should have all the stuff that you want based on the service that you have provided and the value that you have brought into people's lives. That's how it works. There is an equal exchange, the law of compensation, there's an equal exchange. But the way that I personally work to keep this into my reality, to keep that vision, the vision that I hold, the vision that I hold for Jump, the vision that I hold for my own life, right? And I start with, you look at gratitude, right? Gratitude. We talked about this a little bit last week when I said, at least spend at least 5 minutes getting yourself set up for your day, right? Really getting yourself set. And so I'm going to break down the word gratitude and we'll start with G. Giving what you want to receive, right? Most of us want to be heard. Most of us want to be listened to. Most of us want to know that somebody has my back, that there's somebody out there that I'm working with, that I'm co-creating with, that understands who I am, and we are in this together. This is not a one-way street. They're not going to desert me. They're not going to leave me. I'm going to do my part, and they're going to do their part because I'm going to give them what I want to receive, and together we're going to make this happen. The R, ready to use your gifts and talents to be of service, not to manipulate, not to take advantage of somebody, not to talk swift and cruel and all this other good crapola that many of us have been trained to do, but to use our gifts and talents to be of service, to use our gifts and talents to really start to alter and shift this planet, to shift the direction of what the pharmaceutical companies and the food service industries and all the lies that are being told to people. And I'm not saying we should fight them because of, what you resist persists. But what we can do, here's what we can do. Man, we can use our gifts and talents to educate. We can use our gifts and talents to be of service. We can teach people the simple things of how to go into a supermarket and shop, right? The A, attitude of gratitude. Every day, to me, people say to me, I had somebody say to me this morning when they said, Randy, every time I see you at the gym, every time I see you, you always have a smile on your face. You always have a good attitude, right? And I just said, hey, man, I woke up. When I wake up with a great attitude, right? So I wake up in gratitude every day because I'm up. So whatever I screwed up the day before, I now have an opportunity, right? Because it's a new day, my eyes are open, my body is here, my spirit's here, everything is here. I have the opportunity to correct anything, to adjust, but I have another day, right? So I wake up with that attitude of gratitude. And this one is critical, transparent and free of judgment, right? Because the judgment that we place on ourselves is the worst judgment in the world. Yes, many of us have been conditioned. All of us have gone through traumatic things. But what I could tell you is that there are times if you hear yourself speaking to yourself, you would not allow another human being to speak to you the way you speak to yourself sometimes, right? And we want to be transparent with people. We want to tell them the truth. We want to know We want to tell them where we are, who we are, not the stories. One of the things that I despise about this industry are the stories that we think we have to make up and tell people. We want to pretend to be somebody that we're not so they can get the impression that this is what they could have. But when you're real and people know that what you have is real, I believe that's what they're going to be attracted to. The I, integrity, right? So be integrity, not so much outside of yourself. Yes, is that important? Absolutely. But what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is being integrous with yourself, keeping your word to yourself. That's personal mastery. When you say you're going to work out, when you say you're going to eat right, when you say you're going to do what you say you're going to do, keep your word to yourself. Because every time we don't do that, we make it harder and harder to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. And no, are you going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But that's why I talk about the attitude of gratitude. For those days when I'm not perfect, I can make up to it, but I don't ever have to lie to myself, right? So I want to keep my integrity to myself. Your thoughts are observed. That inner conversation, right? That inner conversation, the things, and we're going to talk more about this next week. We're going to really get into thoughts and really looking at what happens and how to break through those old conditioning thoughts that get in our way. And one of the things that I like to use, I call it the ACT, the acknowledge, challenge, transform, right? So when I'm getting those thoughts that are not serving me, I can acknowledge them, I can challenge them, and then I can transform them. And that works miracles for me, especially when it comes to what I want to put in my mouth, because I can tell you my emotional condition based on what I want to eat never fails. And the universal love. So first of all, love yourself, right? Come from your heart. I got to tell you, when we're talking to people and we're talking from our heart and we're not talking from our heads, and people can feel, when people can feel you and they know that that you're there for them, man. This ain't no joke. That they know they can count on you. And there's no better feeling in the world, right? It's one of the things I love about the people that we have here. One of the reasons why I love doing these calls every week with every person that's on this call with us is because even though most of us have never even met, have been in person, but the love that I have for you, the love that I feel for you, right, cannot be replaced with anything else. Because I can feel your dedication. I can feel from the messages that you send and the attention that you're paying that yes, you're looking and wanting something different. And I just want you to know without question, you can always count that I will be here, be there for you, no matter what it is that you choose that you want to do with your life, because that's what it's all about. The D, daily meditation. Now, some people freak out because they think that every time you say, oh, you meditate, they think you got to go into, the pose and the hands and do all that. You can meditate in the shower. Like one of my favorite meditations is as I'm taking a shower and the water and the dirt and the sweat is coming off my body. I have a visualization process of all of the negativity, all the things that are not serving me, all being washed off and going down the drain and going away out of my energy and out of my body. And that's one of the ways that I meditate. Another way that I meditate is I love to take walks in nature. I can't be like Tara. Tara is the nature queen. She is one and so attached to nature and the beauty. However, I do have those moments when I can get outside, get outdoors and look at the trees, look at the birds and just say, wow, man, you know what? How lucky am I that I can be here at this time? And then finally, the E, the energy is free of negative vibrations, right? So that's keeping our energy clear, keeping our energy free, really being able and being clear with who we are. And when we're clear about who we are, we know we're not playing games, and we know that we're here to serve, and we start to act that way and do those things, right? Because we all know what to say. We're really good at language. We're really good at language. It's our actions, it's our aligned and inspired actions that will make all the difference in the world. So I would invite you, challenge you, as you look at the new direction and different things that are going on, is to look at your vibration, look at your internal vibration of what you're bringing, look at your vision, really get clarity on your vision. What is it that you want to see? Who must you become in order for that to be there? How do you become that powerful, purposeful, example, a possibility. Because when people see that, that's where the miracles happen. So that's our piece on vision. I'm going to stop the share and just open it up and see if we have any questions or anything of that nature to that anybody wants to share or talk about. So Tara, do we have any questions?
Yes, Randy, I have a couple of questions that were sent privately.
Okay.
Going back to when you were discussing where does your joy come from, there was a question around, will the values exercise be a clue, and a version of that is, can I look to my values and see if where my joy is in there, or change my values?
Oh, no. Well, your values, if your values are true to you, your values won't change, right? So it's looking at your values, your joy will materialize from those values because you're doing the things that are critical and important to you that really bring you joy. So when you look at your values, like, so when my top value, freedom, right? So when I look at freedom, yes, does that bring me joy? Absolutely, right? Honoring that top value brings me the things that I would love or want to have within the energy that I want to have. So, yes, your values are part of the joy that comes into your life.
Great. And another question is, when you were talking about thinking of three people, and the question evolves around the characteristics of what to look for. I thought I had people who were excited and committed, but it's not turning out that way. Is there something I need to do differently?
Absolutely. And the only thing that we really need to do differently is become really masters at asking the right questions, right? And so, because it's not about judgment, it's asking questions and really listening. So here's what happens, and I can only speak for myself. Sometimes I can want something so bad that I don't really allow myself to listen to what someone is telling me. And then I can talk myself into believing that, man, if they just get around me long enough, I can make it happen. I can make something happen. But when we become really good listeners and we ask real good questions, like I talked about with somebody who says they want to lose weight, really asking them, what will be different this time? What are you really committed to this time that you haven't been committed to before? Who are you willing to become that you may not have been willing to do before so that it will be different for you this time? And then one of the most critical questions that I find to ask someone is that, is it okay? And you know, this is one of my favorites. Is it okay that I hold you accountable to what you say you want? So anytime that I could see that you're off track or something is not going in the manner that you want it to go, that I can remind you. So when somebody says to me, hey, you know what, I want to send my children or I want to send my kids to this private school and it's going to cost X amount of dollars, right? And so whatever, and this is what I want. I want Jump to be able to provide me that income so that I can do that. So let's say that I find that later on I'm looking and there's no activity and nothing's happening for that person. I'm not going to call them up and say, hey man, what are you doing? There's nothing going on. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to ask them a simple question. Is it still important to you for your children to go to XYZ school that you want them to go to? You said that was critical for you for that to happen. And I can tell by your actions that that's not moving in that direction. How can I support you? What kinds of things are going on? Now, if they don't respond to that or that doesn't impact change for them, then there's nothing that you can do but just love them and work with people who are ready because everybody's not going to be ready. But we don't judge them, we don't make them bad, we don't make them wrong. We just hold them accountable to what they say they want. And if they don't want to be accountable to that, then they're never going to be accountable to anything you say. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Randy. People are really appreciating you. Another amazing week. And I think those were the only questions. So thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. I love you, Tara. Thank you so much for all your love and generosity and the things that you put in behind the scenes. And team, I just want you to know that so many things that happen, Tara is responsible for that you don't get to see because she stays behind the scenes to really support me and support Jump and support all the things that we do. And she just is so amazing at everything that she does. So I just want you to know how much you're appreciated, Tara. And I just want to tell everybody I love you and take care. And I can't wait to see you next week. And remember, those of you who submitted the story, please send me your ID numbers because you're going to have some fun stuff coming to you. And Michelle, thank you for such a powerful story that you provided. I loved all the stories, and that's why I want everybody to receive something. And we're going to give out more gifts and things as we go along because we're on this journey together. And together, I believe we can shift and change this world. Thank you very much and take care. Love you all. Bye bye.